What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Xtra Innings Podcast. Your host, Elijah here. We're back after a month. It's literally been a month since I've done an episode. Life's gotten a little bit crazy, but we've got some upgrades to the podcast. We got a little bit of a different setup here so I can kind of pull some more stuff as we're talking. But yeah, my apologies on this long hiatus. I know it's been a while, but things are heating up. Today's September 3rd. So we've got a little bit, I think about a month left of the season, if I'm not mistaken. And then things are going to heat up with the playoffs. So today we got a couple topics. Luckily, last night, some shit hit the fan. Some stuff went down. So we're going to talk about the Astros. We're going to talk about the Mets. A couple things actually happened yesterday that we're going to talk about today, including San Francisco and Colorado. Talk about Ohtani. He did something crazy. And then we're going to talk about the current postseason, if it was going to start today, right? So starting off, we have to talk about the Yankees. I want to talk about the Diamondbacks, but there's not really anything to report. I was watching them today a little bit earlier, taking on the Rangers. I'm pretty sure they're still winning. I'm hoping they're still winning, but start off with my love-hate relationship with the Yankees. So the Yankees have been very hit or miss, I think is the right way to put it, to be honest. Hit or miss with the Yankees. Up, down, up, down. The summer was really awful for them. I think that's a nice way to put it. But then they have some really important series coming up. I'm going to be honest. Let me see the Yankees and their schedule. Hold on a second. Yankees schedule. So pretty much the summer was not kind to them at all, honestly. And again, that's me being nice. That's me being gentle. Went out and got a lot of great pieces at the deadline. A lot of really, obviously they went and got Williams and he did not pan out. Still struggling. They got Bednar. They got Duvall. They got a couple different bullpen pieces. Went out and got McMahon, and things still reluctantly didn't get better. Okay, we're starting all the way in April. Okay, so they played Boston, which was a really big series late August, so a couple weeks ago, and got beat 3-6, 0-1, 1-12, which was horrific that Saturday, and then won on Sunday 7-2, right? But that was a big series, and everyone kind of, if you're a Yankee fan, you kind of knew that, that was the series that was really going to tell you where the Yankees were, and they didn't show up. It took 1 of 4. Then they came back, swept the Nationals, swept the White Sox. That's the thing that irritates me the most, I think, is that the Yankees, rightfully so, beat up on all the teams that they should be beating up. The White Sox, the Nationals. They beat 2 out of 3 from the Rays, who the Rays aren't a slouch, but then they swept the Cardinals the week before that. It's like they beat the teams they should beat. And then when you play, and I think the record for them against playoffs teams is not good. But they're in the home stretch. They're currently 2.5 games ahead of the Red Sox in the standings, and they've got a tough next couple weeks. So right now they're playing the Astros, which everyone was kind of saying, hey, this is a big series, right? It's a big one. They took the game yesterday 7-1, which we're going to talk about that from the Astros point of view, which something crazy happened over there, I think. So they got the Astros this week, won last night 7-1, play again tonight, and then again tomorrow. Then they play the Blue Jays. So they got the Astros, then the Blue Jays, then the Tigers, and the Red Sox. So they've got back-to-back-to-back series that are going to really count. They're playing some, obviously the Tigers are a great ball club. Blue Jays are currently in first. So they're going to have to at least take 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays and then take 2 out of 3 from the Astros. And then they got the Red Sox again, who has their number, in Fenway. So these next 3 series are going to be a big tell on who the Yankees actually are. Because, the summer happens, right? The seasons are going to go like this. It's a long season. They call it the dog days of summer, whatever. These next 3 series, I guess 4 series, Red Sox, Tigers, Blue Jays, Astros, are going to be huge. They're going to be big. And then they got the Twins, then the Orioles, then the White Sox, and they're going to close out the season with the Orioles at the end of the month. So it'll be interesting. But aside from that, talking about the series last night. So last night was Fried versus Valdez. How do I put this? I'm trying to put this nicely. It's a. Let me see if I can pull up the box. That would make it a little bit easier for me, actually. Astros, so I can kind of see exactly, because it all happened after a Trent Grisham grand slam, who we can't talk enough about Trent Grisham. I mean, the dude is just, he's having a year unlike any we've seen. I mean, he's having a hell of a year, especially from who he's been, right? So let's see. Where is it? It's right here, box. Okay, so the Yankees are up 2-0. They score 2 in the second. It's 2-0, 2-0. Then in the fifth, it kind of collapses. There's a couple walks. Where is it? Oh, it's not going to show me the key moments. I want to see all. What happened in the fifth? What led to that moment? Right here. So Wells strikes out. Goldschmidt walks. Bellinger hits a single. Judge hits a single. Giancarlo Stanton strikes out. Now the bases are jammed. Here comes Trent Grisham. Now here's where everyone is there's a problem, right? Cross up his catcher. This catcher is apparently a rookie. Cesar Salazar, rookie, comes up from AAA, whatever, right? So here's the deal. Framber, I think, throws a fastball, whatever. Grisham takes it. Salazar, they call the pitch on the pitch comm, whatever, right? Calls the pitch, and then he starts telling Framber to step off, almost like, we need to change this up. Well, Framber ended up throwing the pitch anyway. He didn't stop. He didn't step off. He just goes, pipes a fastball. Grisham sends it in the Crawford boxes, in the cheap seats, I guess. Not sure that's really a home run anywhere else, but at Daikin, it's a bomb, right? Because they have that short porch on the left. Grand slam really changes the whole trajectory of the game. 6-0. It's pretty much done there in the fifth. Framber's pissed. Now, I'm not an Astros fan. I was on Twitter last night. It was when I saw it, because I watched the game, and I guess I just missed this next sequence I'm going to tell you about. But apparently Framber's been a problem all year. Supposedly with Astros fans, people are like, I didn't want to see him. Hope he's gone next year, blah, blah. So everyone's shitting on Framber. And after this, rightfully so. So anyway, hits a grand slam. And I think he throws one pitch to Volpe, because Volpe's up next. And then next pitch comes, and he squares Salazar right in the chest with a fastball. Clearly Salazar was hanging breaking ball, and then he nails him with a fastball. Framber throws it, immediately turns around as if like, yeah, I just did that. Like it was on purpose. And Salazar's like, what the hell was that? I just wore a fastball. Now, listen, I used to have a temper when I played. I used to, have an issue with stuff like that. It pissed me off. You get bombs. It sucks, right? It's not cool. But never in my life, even if I didn't call the pitch, I've never even fathomed intentionally crossing up my catcher. Number one, it's dangerous. It's even more dangerous when you're throwing 95 plus. But like that's your teammate. Like screw up or not, bro. You don't just square up your catcher, let alone like what the hell was that? When I saw it, I was flabbergasted. I was like, what the hell? Why would you do that? You've seen the jokes of like, I'm going to throw a fastball and we're going to intentionally miss it because the umpire sucks and it's going to drill the umpire. But that never really happens either. It happens in like the movies, right? But never to your own teammate. To your own teammate. I was shook. That's the best way to put it. I was shook when I saw that. Like, just like, what the hell? What are you doing? I got to turn on the fan here. It is hot. It's a problem with South Texas, man. It gets freaking, I got a big window right behind my computer here, and it gets a little warm, gets a little toasty in here, especially with all my computer stuff going. Rill's his own catcher. Can you believe? I can't. What are you doing, right? So Salazar kind of takes a second, looks back at him, like you can tell he's visibly pissed, but I mean, you got to be professional in this situation, right? You don't want to like throw gasoline on a fire. So he kind of just takes the ball and throws it back, whatever. And then here comes everyone like it was intentional. Damn sure. Look, I don't care. They're out here saying it was a cross up with the pitch comm and it was loud. And there was apparently a meeting after the game talking about this situation. Listen, cross ups happen. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not even I played in college, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that cross ups don't happen. They happen. They happen. It happens. Accidentally, can't see the sign. You just had a brain fart, whatever. Cross-ups happen, and it happens in the big leagues. You can't sit here and tell me that it doesn't happen. It happens. But here's the thing. They're out here saying it wasn't intentional. It was loud. Maybe I hit the wrong button. All of this screams cover up for Framber Valdez. I'm not going to lie. Cross-ups happen all the time. Do you need to have a meeting because there was a cross-up at the plate? No. The fact that they had to have a meeting, I don't know if the meeting took place after the game or after the inning, whatever. The fact that you had to have a meeting about this incident shows me immediately that wasn't an accident. You just straight up squared your catcher in the chest because you were butthurt because you threw a cock shot and it got smashed. Now look, it is what it is at this point. I haven't been tuned into Framber. He's been great in the past. He's a great pitcher, but this 100% looks really bad. I mean, slightly on the organization, but really a lot on Framber Valdez, and especially taking it out on a rookie. Like, what are you proving? What was that? It's ugly. It's ugly, man. That's crazy. It's crazy work. But he definitely, whether they want to cover it up and say it was an accident, I don't buy it. I think that that's them trying to cover up Framber's stupidity out there. But yeah, just an ugly look. Now, talking about kind of this series. This is a big series for both teams, right? The Astros are kind of on the fringe of the wild card. Yankees too. Yankees have a lot to prove, like I just said. So this is a big series. Another game 2 tonight. I'm not sure who's pitching tonight. I'm pretty sure Rodon might be going tonight, to be honest with you. Let's see who's going tonight. But yeah, kind of moving on from that ugly look. Awesome D-backs are still up right now. Yeah. Oh, we got Warren and Alexander tonight. I think tomorrow would be Rodon and Javier. Okay. So 2 big games coming up. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, a lot of drama yesterday with that incident and real bad look for the Astros and for Framber Valdez. The next thing on my list. All right. The Mets. So the Mets are in an interesting situation, right? So last week was a big day. I think there was 2 big debuts last Friday night. Jonah Tong and the gentleman for the Red Sox. What the hell was his name? Hold on, I'm going to find this here. The 29th for the Red Sox. What the hell was his name? I'm going to find this. Don't hate me. Toll. Damn it. Big man, mustache. Toll. So I was flipping back between those games. I was mostly interested in watching Jonah Tong because he's just a weirdo. Dude throws straight. I'm not kidding. I don't mean that derogatory. I don't mean a weird, right? But he's weird. He's got a weird pitching motion. Very Tim Lincecum-esque, which is who they're really comparing him to. Electric fastball, but it was interesting, right? Aside from that, they just got, what's his name? McLean. Noah McLean, who was the first Mets pitcher in his first 4 starts to go 4-0. No Darryl Strawberry, Tom Seaver. Nobody's done that. He's the first to do that, which is pretty interesting. I'm sorry, not Noah. Nolan McLean. OSU 2A guy. They called him the Cowboy Ohtani in college. He's got, I was looking at Pitching Ninja earlier today, right? And he's got balls that break both sides nasty. His slider looks like a video game, looks like a Frisbee, and his 2-seam breaks down. I think it's a sinker that breaks down. He's got a 2-seam that runs like 6 feet. I'm being facetious, but it's disgusting, right? Look at these stats here, right? So I can't see his first start, but is against the Braves, who aren't terrible, right? I mean, they're the Braves. Goes 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. Then 5 days later, against the Phillies, 8 innings, right? He went 8 full, 4 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts against the Phillies. Rookie. Yeah, insane there. Then against Detroit, so he's had 2 back-to-back pretty tough starts against 2 pretty solid teams. Against Detroit, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks. He was a little shaky from what I heard in a couple of the innings. Gave up 2 runs, 3 walks, still 7 strikeouts. His ERA is a 1.37. If you haven't seen video on this guy, I implore you, go watch the footage on Pitching Ninja or just go watch the highlights on YouTube. Nolan McLean, insane. It is, he's dirty. He's nasty, right? And I'm bringing this up and I want to talk about Jonah Tong because I don't know what his stats were. The thing about Jonah Tong's game is it wasn't good. It wasn't a good game. I'm not saying that in the sense that like it was ugly. I mean, well, it was ugly. They won 19-9. The Mets took that game 19-9. So it wasn't even and it got ugly like in the bottom of the first or second. Like it was quick ugly. Like I was leaving the game and coming back just to watch Tong pitch because you're not missing anything from the offensive side on New York. It wasn't a good game. Not a very, and it's kind of, I feel kind of bad actually. Like you want him to have that adrenaline, like it's really like it's an intense game, it's a close game, whatever. This game was blown out of proportion by the second or third inning. Like it was really bad. But his stat line against Miami, so not a great team. I mean, Miami's had their ups and downs. They're definitely that was a tough showing. He threw 5 innings, six hits. So he did give up quite a few hits, though. I will say that 6 hits, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, and he didn't start racking up the strikeouts like the 4th inning, which is a little weird. A lot of soft contact, but also he got hit a few times pretty hard. And here's the thing, right? I want to bring this up real quick. Let me see some rosters. What I want to look at. So the Mets are in an interesting situation now. Here, and this is why I say it. You've got, starting wise, I'm talking, you got Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea. You're going to start McLean, however you pronounce that, Peterson, and Tong, right? They also have Senga. So I read today with them pulling up all these guys, which is much needed because Senga has not been getting the job done. Like, let's see Senga's stats here. Yeah, damn. Yeah, so the last time he started was against Miami. I guess it was a couple days before Tong, or I guess the 2 days after Tong, the last game of the series. Last couple starts, so on 8/20 against Washington, 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. 5 days later against Philly, same series as McLean, whatever. 4 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. And then again against Miami, that his last start was 4.2, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. So he hasn't really been given much depth, right? So that's a look. But then you got Manaea, Peterson, Holmes, all those guys are going to give you depth. And you just brought up 2 young guns, McLean and Tong. So they're looking like they're going to have to give Senga a little bit of a minor league trip because he's not making that. He's not making that 5-man rotation there. You just can't. You can't give it to him, right? And the bullpen, you got Diaz, Helsley, who they just got at the deadline, Rayleigh, Rogers, Soto, and then obviously Stanek, who they use Stanek a lot. So there's just no room, right? There's just no place. So interesting space. But my question is, and I'm not huge on the Mets. I watch them every now and again, whatever. Are these 2 guys enough to really propel them up into where, where I guess, they can really, because they've been struggling. The Mets are another team that's had a really up and down season, right? Because right now they're 6 games back from the Mets, right? I mean, from the Phillies. Do they have enough? Obviously, they're gonna be in the postseason. It's no question, right? But do they have what it takes, to really make it far? And it's gonna, obviously, they're relying on 2. One who's obviously just really showing up in McLean. Can you expect the same out of Tong? And can Manaea, Holmes, Peterson, can they get you there? Right? Because your offense is decent, right? They just got to show up. The offense is going to score runs. It's the pitching and the bullpen. Can they handle it? I don't know. You're relying on 2 really young guys and 3 have, one guy this is his first year starting in, I think, a while, if not ever, in Holmes. And then you've got Manaea, who's got some experience, and you got Peterson, who's got some experience. But again, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. But honestly, with Tong and McLean coming up, they've been really fun to watch. It's gonna be interesting what they plan to do with Senga. I would think maybe they would drop somebody else, throw him in the bullpen. It's interesting. It's weird, but it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. Let's see something here before I get into my next topic here. I'm gonna pull it up. All right. On to my next topic. The longest home run trot ever in the history of the game happened yesterday with Rafael Devers against the Rockies. I think it was, what's his name? Kyle Freeland. Right. So yesterday in the first inning, Rafael Devers hits a home run, a bomb. It was a bomb. Let's not, whatever. And I've been in different to Rafael Devers and his, I guess, off-field antics and the whole thing that happened with the Red Sox and him not wanting to play first, or he wanted to be third baseman. They DH him. They want to play first with Tristan Casas out, and then he doesn't want to do that, and then they end up trading it. It was a mess. And if you don't remember, look up the saga. I'm sure everyone remembers that. That was the big trade that happened way earlier, pretty decently earlier in the year. Anyway, last night, Devers hits a home run in the first, and as he's tossed the bat, as he's running, Kyle Freeland has a problem with the way that he, I guess, bat flipped. And okay, I'm gonna be honest. Again, I'm indifferent to Rafael Devers and his behavior. I guess I don't know. Don't really watch enough of him to know. All I know is what happened with the Red Sox earlier this year, right? Whatever. Hits a home run. It wasn't even a pimp job. He looked at it for a couple seconds. He was already running. I don't know what. It kind of goes back to the thing, let the kids play. There's got to be some emotion. Freeland didn't like it, starts screaming at Rafael Devers. And then, really, he's pissed, which, playing with the Rockies has got to be hard. Freeland has not had a great year. I looked up his stats before this. They're not really worth going into now. But he's frustrated, I guess, is the main reason why this whole thing happened. And then bench is clear. There was some pushing, shoving, no fists, no real fight, just a lot of kind of pushing, shoving. They bunched up, all that, right? And then after the game, they asked Devers, because Devers didn't get ejected because Devers didn't really do anything. It was Chapman that came in, Adames that came in. A lot of other guys got ejected. Devers wasn't one of them. I don't think Devers was ejected, now that I think about it. Yeah, Freeland, Adames, and Chapman. So Matt Chapman was the first one who really ran in there and interjected himself, and Adames and Freeland. So, yeah. I don't see what was so disrespectful. It was a, he hit a bomb in the first inning, setting the tone for the game. Get over it, I think, personally. And here's a quote from Devers. I don't know why he got like that. Devers said of Freeland after the game through interpreter, I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I did the same thing I do every time, which is true. If you go back and look at all the home runs he hits, he does the same thing. I think Freeland was just upset and a lot of frustration bowling over. We're getting towards the end of the season. It's been a long season for some of these guys. Like, maybe just frustration is the only thing I can say. But you can't do that, man. Guy hits a home run off you in the big leagues. Be pissed off, but you can't just start yelling at guys. I mean, Jazz Chisholm is 10 times more flamboyant than that was. I mean, and that's every time he hits a home run. So it's just like, there's so much worse. There's so much worse. You got, Trent Grit. I'm just using Yankees because they're the first ones that are coming to my head. All these different guys are bat flipping all the time. I can't sit here and see why that one was such a big problem. Maybe he's got beef with Devers. I don't know, but that was a big debacle yesterday. Calm down, man. Let the kids play. Have fun, man. Come on. I got some text coming through here. All right. Only a couple more pieces on this list. Ohtani was scratched from his start. So a couple things on Ohtani we're going to talk about. I don't like really talking about him because he's a showstopper. I feel like everybody's talking about Shohei Ohtani. So big deal today was that Shohei Ohtani was slated to pitch and was scratched. When I saw that news, I was kind of like, holy shit, like what the heck? Apparently it's due to illness. I've just been eerie. To be honest, and maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'm being a little bit much or expecting too much, maybe. But my thing is like, I say this. I'm trying to pull up these stats here. I've just been underwhelmed with him on the mound, to be honest. It just hasn't been that great. Obviously, he's working back from Tommy John. Whatever, right? Take it with a grain of salt. Of course, I'm not expecting him to be, 2022, 2023 Ohtani or anything like that on the mound, 21 or whatever it was before he got Tommy John or was needing Tommy John. I don't know whatever he got, right? I'm not delved into the Ohtani stuff. I don't really care. But it's a big deal today because he got scratched. And so let's look at this. So his first start was on June 16th. He went an inning, gave up 2 hits, 1 run. I watched that game. That was against San Diego. Then he pitched again on June 22nd. He threw an inning, clean. On June 28th, he threw 2 innings. That was 1 hit, relatively clean, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. June 5th, 2 innings, 1 hit, clean slate. July 12th, 3 innings, 1 hit, clean slate. July 21st, 3 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run. Not bad. July 30th, 3 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs. So not the greatest. August 6th, 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, not bad. August 13th against Angels, 4 1/3, 5 hits, 4 runs, not great. And then against Colorado on the 20th, 4 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned runs, not great. And then against Cincinnati, 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run. So not as bad as I thought. I think that I just got overshadowed by that Colorado start and maybe that Angels start, because those stats are not very good there. 9 runs in 9 innings and about 8 and a third there. It's not great, but then did good against Cincinnati. Was slated to pitch tonight, but was scratched due to illness or not feeling good. He's still going to be hitting, right? So I don't know. Personally, I think that he is, and I'm not one of those guys who's not going to say he's up to hype, because he is 100% worth all the hype. He's above serviceable. He's a decent pitcher, right? I feel like still that's underselling it. I'm not going to comment on it when it comes to pitching, but he is doing things at the plate that are insane. I think he's one of the greatest hitters of the game's ever seen. Him still being able to pitch throws his value way high up. So I'm not taking away from what he really is. I mean, it's insane. It's pretty incredible. I think that for longevity reasons, I personally selfishly wish that he would just hit. That's just me. I think that he has a lot more to offer. He'd be more fresh. There's just a lot more that he could offer the game as a hitter. But I get that him pitching, the Dodgers need him pitching. Well, whether he's going to pitch in the playoffs is a whole other story, because they have the Dodgers have a lot of pitchers. We're going to talk about that in a second. But regardless, he was scratched today due to an illness. Maybe he pitches tomorrow. I saw that they did say he's going to pitch over the weekend, whether that's I think tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. I don't know how this is going to shape up. But I think I saw something on Twitter that said they're hoping to pair him up against Skeens, which would be pretty incredible. So we'll see. But on the flip side of the pitching, we're going to talk about his hitting. He hit his 100th home run yesterday as a Dodger. It only took him like 247 games or something like that. Hold on, I got to find the stat. Let's see. Oh, you can find scratch. Right. Okay, so he hit his 100th home run last night in record time. I think he was the fastest to get there, off Bubba Chandler. 294th game with the Dodgers, fastest to reach 100 in the team history, ahead of Gary Sheffield. Took him 399. Who hit 399. Took him 444 games to hit 100 home runs with the Angels. That's pretty incredible. 100 home runs in 294 games. That is incredible. Like, shit like that, you're just like, what the hell, man? Like, what is this? Oh, and to throw, to make it even more incredible, not only did he hit his 100th home run yesterday, he hit it 120 miles an hour. Speed, like, what the hell, man? 120 miles an hour? That's what I'm saying. Doing things that the game has never seen, right? Incredible. And again, selfishly wish he would just hit, because he would be ridiculous. Now, one more thing I want to talk about the Dodgers, and this is something that it's been in my back pocket. I know I haven't recorded in a month, but it's been something that I've kind of been thinking about, is Roki Sasaki. When it was a big free agent this past offseason, big piece. Everybody wanted him. It was a big deal. Again, we all knew he was going to be a Dodger, whether you want to split it however, we all knew he was going to be a Dodger. The season has not been kind to him. Then he went on the IL months ago, and apparently his outings have not been good. He's been shaky. He's missed more than 3 months due to an impingement in his right shoulder. He posted a 4.72 ERA through his first 8 starts in the big leagues. There was a thing of him crying. Wasn't what it was supposed to be. And then on Tuesday, as of a couple days ago, he allowed 4 runs on 3 hits and 2 walks, striking out 2. He only threw 69 pitches, 42 were strikes. His final 4 innings were positive, but he continued to deal with the same problem he was dealing with before. His command was bad in the first inning, walked 1 batter and hit another, generated 5 whiffs on his fastball. It's the most he's had in a game since his rehabs, but his velocity was still down, which is funny that they say down. He was sitting 96. Oh, in his previous 2, but he only hit through 94 on Tuesday. He maxed out at 96.9. Here's the thing. Did he pan out? No, but here's the thing. Not everyone, and this is the other thing, so I'm going to play devil's advocate with myself, saying that he hasn't been really that great, but whatever, right? Not everyone is Shohei. Not everyone's going to come over from a completely different league with a completely different ball, with completely different everything, a different country. He's young. What is he, 23? it's a lot. And not everybody's Ohtani, so it's going to take some people some more time to accustom to this whole thing. Let's just be honest. So at the same time, it's like, well, maybe he's hurt. Maybe he overdid it. Things change. Again, a lot of different factors going into this. Will he be good next year? Probably. Will the Dodgers really, in reality, need him back? Probably not. Yeah, you got Glass now. Kershaw's having a great year this year through a really good couple days, or I think yesterday against the Pirates. You got Shohei's on his way up back. And you still got Yamamoto who's throwing. They traded May. So you got 4 guys there. Let's see who we got starters-wise. And I haven't even looked at this now that I'm thinking about it, aside from those guys that I just obviously mentioned, who can't forget about those guys. So you got Glass now, Kershaw, Snell. I forget about Snell, Yamamoto, and Ohtani. So Ohtani's technically your 5th guy. But the funny thing about the Dodgers is they've notoriously, and they did it all last postseason too, they've gone with the bullpen day where they've started Kasparius, or they started, I think Knack started a couple games last year too, and then you could start Kopech a couple games. Like there's all these guys that they can throw in and out of that 5th spot if Ohtani can't do it. But if they're going to keep building up Ohtani as a starter, I don't see why he wouldn't be the 5th guy. And maybe Roki either goes into a bullpen role, obviously because they're going to extend rosters for the postseason. Maybe you use him as a 1-2 inning guy later down the line this year, but I'm not saying that he's not going to pan out. It's still entirely way too early. Like I said, there's a lot of factors that go into this, and he's not Ohtani. He's not just going to show up and be the greatest the world's ever seen. So it's going to take some time, but I don't think he's going to play that big of a role this year specifically. That's me saying it. I mean, I don't know. It seems that way, especially because he's been struggling and still struggling in the rehab start. So maybe not everything's right down there. But again, at the end of the day, Dodgers are going to be fine. Dodgers are going to be fine. Now, last thing on my list, postseason today. This came out a couple days ago, or it came out this morning, 18 hours ago. If the postseason started today, I'm going to pull up the standings because that's also imperative in this conversation. It's also a lot easier to look things up with this new setup I got going. I'm pretty hyped about it. Instead of me trying to find stuff on the computer, jacking up my bandwidth on my actual streaming computer. All right. So right now on the National League side for the wild card, you've got the Mets. And this is today. There's still a lot of tiebreakers that could possibly happen. There's a lot of things that could change. Again, we were talking about the Yankees, Astros. That's a close race between between the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and the Yankees is a close race. The Tigers, the Royals are pretty far back. I think the Tigers are going to run away with that division. Astros, Mariners are kind of a tight, it's only 3 games back there. So that's a tight race there. Rangers are still 5 games back, so there's still some time there. The Mets are 6 back from the Phillies. It's kind of and then a commanding thing behind the Marlins. So I think that's going to stay the same, to be honest. Phillies and New York Mets there. The Brewers are 5 games ahead of the Cubs. So, I don't know, close. And they've got a convincing lead over the Reds, 15 games. Yikes. Obviously, the Padres and the Dodgers have a close race, 2.5 games back there. The Giants are only 8.5 back. Maybe something there. I don't know. And then the Diamondbacks are my Snakes, man. 9.5 games back. It's not looking good there. Anyway. So if it started today on the National League side and the wild card, you'd have the Mets facing the Dodgers. Crazy to think that the Dodgers are in the wild card. Wouldn't it be something if the Dodgers did not make the divisional series? Wow, that would be something. Anyway, so Mets, Dodgers on the top, Padres, Cubs at the bottom, and then the 2 buys would obviously be the Phillies and the Brewers in the divisional series, waiting for those winners. On the American League side, you've got Seattle versus Houston. And then you've got the Tigers, obviously, in the DS already. And you've got the Yankees, Red Sox in the wild card, which would be, okay, we got to pack that. If the Yankees play the Red Sox in the wild card, that is going to be absolutely nuts. Insert adverb. Adjective. That's going to be insane. Wild. That's going to be something. You're talking about a crazy series. That's going to be it. And the second thing about that is scary for me because the Red Sox have absolutely dominated the Yankees this year. Do I think that's a true tell of how the Yankees are as a ball club? No. But it's the sense that that's how they play against that team, and they've done it now a couple times now, or 2 times at this point. they've gotten beaten convincingly each time, it seems like, in those series. So it'd be a tough series there. And then you got the Blue Jays in first, which the bottom half with the Red Sox, Yankees, and Jays. I mean, that can switch in any sort of time within the end of the month. That could change up. So we're going to see that. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, that's the postseason picture right now. I think it's going to stay. I've got some hopes and dreams for the Diamondbacks and a couple other underdogs to make their way through. But if I'm being 100% honest, I think the Mariners, the Astros, the Tigers, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Jays, the Mets, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Padres, the Cubs, and the Brewers, I think those are the teams that we're going to see this postseason. And it's shaping up good. This is going to be interesting. I think it's crazy that I think last year with the Dodgers, which could it happen? I think there could be a Dodger Padres championship series. That's a series you're not going to want to miss if that does happen, because both teams are strong. Padres went and got a freaking ridiculous bullpen. Dodgers are the Dodgers. Never count them out. But at the same time, and this is why I was talking about, and this alone, I'm not going to delve into this too much, but this alone is why I was talking about earlier in the episode. I was talking about the Mets and Senga and Tong and McLean and all these guys. Do they have enough? Because if it started today, they'd be facing the Dodgers. And is that rotation enough? Is their offense enough? They just said their Winker's going to be gone for the rest of the year. How does that play out? There's a lot of question marks that are going to be answered this month for the Mets. It's going to be interesting. The Cubs are another team. Kyle Tucker has been nowhere. He's hurt today, exited with calf tightness. Before these last 2-3 weeks, he's been scuffling by. Armstrong's been scuffling by. They just got Assad back not too long ago, but their pitching staff, they didn't get anybody at the deadline, which I thought they were going to be buyers in some situations. They didn't. But it'll be interesting. The Phillies are obviously a strong team. Can't say anything there. Their pitching staff is stacked. Brewers have been playing the best baseball. They're easily, maybe if not the best team, they're the hottest team at the moment. Can they carry that on through? Just kind of some quick tags on each. The Astros and the Mariners. The Mariners obviously have been playing good ball. Pitching has been struggling, but they have a decent offense. Obviously, the Tigers are the Tigers. They're playing some of the best baseball in the league at the moment. Tarek Skubal, Casey Mize have a great starting rotation. Javi Baez having his resurrection. There's a lot happening there. Then you got the Astros, who after yesterday, I don't know what it is, and I'm not even really an Astros fan, but there seems to just be a dark cloud over them right now. And they just got Jordan back, and it's just something doesn't seem right. They got Correa at the deadline. I'm hold off on the Astros right now. And then again, the Yankees and Red Sox, two teams that, the Red Sox went and got May at the deadline. They released Buehler, kind of a swap there. And Buehler went to the Phillies. What his capacity there is going to be, I don't know. And then the Yankees, who on paper have one of the strongest lineups in the game, but have yet to solidify their bullpen enough to be confident. It's bad. It's scary. It's not bad, but it's scary. Duvall hasn't showed up. Bednar's been really carrying a lot of the weight, but when he doesn't show up, who's going to carry that torch? It's like, and then you got Williams, who they paid a pretty penny for, is not showing up either. It's like, damn. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see, but this is a pretty interesting playoff picture we got going on. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. I apologize if you're an avid listener. I've been slacking on the episodes, and that's on me. I'm sorry. I've been trying to juggle some stuff, but this is when things heat up. We're going to have episodes. Hold me to it. I promise. We're going to be doing some stuff. So we're going to have clips on social media. Follow us on Instagram. I'm talking all kinds of stuff on Twitter during the games, mostly in the evenings. So that'll be interesting there. Be sure to follow, rate us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen. Rate us on there. It helps with the algorithm. On Instagram, on YouTube, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. I appreciate it. And we will catch you guys in the next episode.